I wanted to talk a little bit about Prospero's future because it was really eye-opening to me, and I hope some of our viewers got to see users of the app come on and share their experiences, how beneficial Prospero has been for them in their investing journeys. So I wanted to get your input on where you see Prospero going in the future and how it's going to continue to help investors for years to come.
What I love about those videos too is you can get to see all of the different types of people that Prospero can help. But yeah, I would definitely say that, where we are now, we're very much trying to just slowly release high quality features. And, the reason that we're very slow to release features, and I hear people all the time asking for features we really like. It's something that is just tough to do when especially quality control is so important to us. But like some of the things that we want to do is we want to make alerts more prevalent. And, I do think it's important to add color on alerts because a lot of people are just like, I want alerts for my watch list. But part of that, and one I think a very interesting story about how we built Prospero is like, we don't necessarily give people what they ask for if we don't think it's what they're really going to want. Because the story there is that a lot of people early on in Prospero were like, we want buy, sell, hold ratings. And I was like, I can make those. But like before, let me just see something. And I basically asked them what a realistic hit rate on like a buy rating would be for them. And they were all like 60, 70%. And like, yes, like especially in our newsletter, we're above that. But that is also like curating the signals even more to stuff like high conviction things. People expect that just like logging onto the app and seeing a buy rating. And the reality is like being right 51% of the time as a hedge fund is really good. You could start a hedge fund on that. So like that's just something where like they actually don't want that product because people are not comfortable. They want it to be that easy, but it isn't that easy. And that's one of the reasons we have 10 signals. Because it's like, no, you really need to pay attention to all of it. You can't just boil it down to one thing, and you do have to watch this stuff. I would say that that's an important thing in thinking about how we think about alerts. So we're going to start rolling out alerts in the sense that we're going to fire off on like known things. Like basically, we actually have a net option sentiment alert that we're really excited about that basically flags a 10% or more moving average. Or sorry, a 25% or more moving average difference from the 7-day. And that actually, if you hold that alert, it's about 100 stocks last year for 24 hours. It's a 530% return. What's crazy about that is like, before I actually figured out to do that, said to many people, it's like, oh, like net option sentiment is like tricky and you have to get to know the stock. Like, well, I said all that, but it was like, eventually I said that enough times, people was like, oh, what if I just like looked at the moving average of its own stock instead of the absolute value? So some of that stuff is just like process. And so that's a really good example of even like alerts we're working on. We're going to roll out a Discord. We're doing a really cool like crowdsourced model portfolio thing right now where I'm recruiting people that are going to like, essentially get free product to help me run it because I do want it to kind of be like retail owned and retail used. So like that's something I'm really excited about. We're going to roll out a web app. Longer term, like we have some really interesting plans, I would say, about helpful tools to learn about investing, especially leveraging generative AI. We have some cool like specialty things, like in the same way we look at net option sentiment, we want to look at like volume weighted average price on the dark pool and trends there to help people with like another kind of trading signal, as well as kind of these multi-signal things. We want to improve our net institutional flow. For a long time, we've had this cool thing called shark rating, where we'll basically like let you know who owns the stock and like how sharky they are in terms of how often they roll over their positions. And like, obviously a high shark rating is not necessarily good on something that you want to hold long term because you think people might be trading out of it versus like a low shark rating where you're just like, okay, these are my people who are going to hold long term with me. There's a lot of really exciting stuff. Long term, we actually want to have a high yield savings account. And the really cool way that we're going to do this is that we're going to be able to offer people something like 9% because we're going to use alternative data. So data that we ask people, like be able to ask them questions like, what's your temperature? And then we could be able to model that in real time into the predictions and essentially be able to do what the US senators did when they were looking at hospital data, reassuring the public and shorting the market because they knew a pandemic was coming. Like we could do that, but get ahead of them. And instead of like letting that information being selfishly hoarded and gained by a few people, will distribute it as a public good. And that incentivizes more people to give us more data. But, we also recognize that those kind of high risk trades, hedge fund investing isn't for everyone. So that's why we could offer something like even like a 9-10% like savings account, have that insured by other people that we allow to participate in the upside of the trades that are more suited for it, but are also going to insure this savings account, and everybody wins. And we'll be able to, like, even people that don't want to have risky investments and just want to know exactly how much they're going to make, but like get the kind of returns an institutional investor would, like that's the kind of thing that we want to bring to people. Those are just like a few different things on our roadmap, but we have tons of stuff in terms of financial education, better tools around that. We're going to have better onboarding resources and educational resources to learn how to leverage the signals faster, and even just like tracks of people that like to do more day trading, people that want to invest more long-term and have strategies already, or people that just want to learn about investing and learn strategies. Like all of that is going to be a pretty holistic journey where we start to build out like, things like an alert or a Discord, where it's even just like, okay, some of these, products are going to be built more towards certain types of people, so we can, bifurcate a little more than that. Because the crazy thing, everyone from beginner investors to expert day traders and pros use Prospero. So obviously it's great that we've built something that is like so multi-purpose and that it can help all those people, but obviously like tailoring some of the experience to people better that can help more is really important to us as well.